This video is going over a few different movements that will give you more chest opening and opening the shoulders. It's a little bit of back bending, so with that I want to have a little background understanding of the spine. When we think about the shape of the spine, sometimes we think it's flat, and it's not a straight line. It goes in and out and in and out, and depending on your spine it may be different. So the important thing to remember is that this lower back, the lumbar spine, curves inward, meaning that it's always in this position and can be really prone to injury and weakness. So when we're going into things that like this back bending that we're going to do, just small back bends, you want to make sure that the belly button is pulled in. Because it's right on the opposite side of the body, this lower part of the spine that's really weak and can be easy to injure, the belly button is right on the other side. And so it's a great place to support. If you pull the belly button in, that is you engaging the inner layers of the abdomen that we don't often use. A lot of times if I told you to flex your abs, you would just kind of maybe squeeze. And that's the outer layers of the abdomen. We want to use every part of it that we can. So as you exhale, dig the belly button into the body. Feel that activation and see if you can maintain it while you breathe. So you exhale, pull it in, and take a few breaths. While still trying to maintain the activation. The other thing about back bending is that if I'm back bending, you may think, oh, well, I'll just use the lower back, so I just kind of curve like this. Instead of using what this is already doing, we're back bending to move the upper body. So if you pull down to your ribs, just grab your rib cage and feel your inhale, lengthen your spine, and let your ribs slide forward. So this is the movement that we're working with, and one of the exercises is going to be a really good way to feel that. But I just want to give that background. We're really careful of the lower back, because otherwise it's just going to get hurt. So we're going to start with cat and cow, just to make sure the spine is warmed up. So coming onto hands and knees. Inhale, lengthen the spine, feel the vertebrae separate more as you open the front of the body. Exhale, pull the belly button in, pull the ribs in, round over in the spine, opening the back of the body. So take a few breaths just like that, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Really gentle. You don't need to worry about what the spine looks like. Just focus on how your spine feels. Take however many you want, and then when you're ready, go ahead and sit back on your heels. So the rib cage, your bottom ribs, just kind of feel where they're at. We're going to come into child's pose position. So if it's not comfortable to bring your legs or your body all the way down to your legs, grab a blanket or something to put right here, because what we want to feel is the bottom rib and where it is in relation to your thigh. So for me, my bottom rib is here on my upper thigh. I'm going to place my hands on fingertips, roll the shoulders back and down so my chest is open. And as I inhale, I've got my belly button pulled in and it's staying like that. So I inhale and let my bottom rib slide forward toward my knees. So hopefully you can see that. And that way I'm opening, not from the lower back, but from my middle back, because my rib cage is what's moving. Then I exhale, pull the ribs in, slide back down to child's pose. So inhale, slide the ribs forward and open. Exhale, pull the ribs in, back to child's pose. So you're taking a few of those, focusing on the mobility of the rib cage and the lengthening of the spine. Sometimes we kind of collapse in the spine when we're doing back bends like this, and that's where injury happens, because we're collapsing on the lower back. So we want it to be extension. The ribs or the vertebrae are separating more. Go ahead and take one more. You can keep working with this. But we're going to extend more into that back bend by going into puppy puppy pose. So you're going to bring your hands forward, walk your knees back so that your arms are at a slant, and make sure those shoulders are rolled back and down. And we're going to open the ribs out toward the floor. So your butt's kind of sticking out, but make sure your spine feels long. Hands are pressing down into the floor. Feel the fingertips pushing down. Belly button pulls in. The legs are active. They're not just kind of hanging out here. The shins are pushing down into the floor to give you support. Imagine more space being created between your hip bone and your rib cage. So you want to separate those two big structures, the pelvis and the rib cage. When you're ready to come out of it, pull the ribs in, lift the body up just enough to walk your hands underneath you. And then rest in child's pose for a minute here. Take however long you need to adjust, and then roll the spine up. There you go.